What's good, everyone? Welcome back. It's Zack here. We are going to be breaking down the NBA season today. We're going through the Eastern Conference. This season is going to be crazy. There's so much in the air. There's so many different moves. Teams are just ready. And it's going to be an interesting one. There's a lot of different players going different places. The Celtics are definitely the favorites. The East is wild like always. The West is super stacked. And there's a lot of teams that are trying to rise up. You got teams like the Magic. You have other teams out west as well. The Thunder climbing up, the T-Wolves climbing up, Jaws coming back for the Grizzlies. But we're going to break down the Eastern Conference. So we're going to just stick to the East today. We're going to go through each team. We're going to go through a little bit of like the new roster constructions for the year, how they finished last season. And then I'm going through the most important players or most important things I'm most excited for. And then kind of go through the changes as well. So we're going to start A to Z in the Eastern Conference, and we're going with the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks finished 10th last season. Pretty disappointing, but they were injury-ridden. It was basically kind of like the DeJounte Murray show a little bit. But he's gone. That is a big change for them. They got Trae Young in the starting five with Bogdan Bogdanovic. Zachary Ricochet should get in the mix as well, maybe in the starting five. Jalen Johnson, Clint Capella. Off the bench, they have a lot of stuff. They got Kobe Buffkin I've really liked. I want to see him get some minutes. Dyson Daniels, Hunter. They got Larry Nance, Onyeka Okongwu. Like a lot of players there. I think they have a lot of talent, but they haven't really been able to put it together. And I think that's why they got rid of DeJounte, which I'm kind of happy because it was not working. The Trae Young, DeJounte Murray thing was just not it. So I'm kind of happy they got rid of him. And along with that, the most important player I think is Trae Young. He's good. Like, we all think he's pretty good. He's a great floor general. We saw this crazy one-footed, it was like a floater three. It was supposed to be a lob, but not really. Like, he's so creative, but, like, he's going to be so important for them if they want to make a playoff push this season. The thing I'm most excited for, and probably, like, their biggest, most important thing, too, is who is going to help Trae Young? Because, I don't know. They got Jalen Johnson. They got, hopefully, Kobe Buffkin can get some minutes. I really liked how he played in college. And then I'm missing the biggest one that I'm thinking of. Last year, DeAndre Hunter. Thank you. DeAndre Hunter has averaged over 15 two straight seasons. A little hurt last year, but I think he's going to be pretty big for them. I think he is a factor that he needs to get going. I think even, I don't know how Ricochet is going to play. Everyone thinks that's an interesting pick, but he's a French guy, and everyone's obsessed with Wemby too. So we'll see how the Hawks finish. I don't have high expectations. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, and I don't know. They're in a weird space right now. Moving on, it's the Boston Celtics, the NBA champs, the defending champs now. Been a while since they won, but they're back, baby, and they're going to look to defend it. They didn't change basically anything, and I think that's their biggest thing this season is going to be how are they going to actually – because you can't just stay stagnant. Like, this ain't the 2015 Warriors where everyone's like, oh, my gosh, Steph Curry's just going to shoot from everywhere, and my Matthew Dellavedova can't do anything on him. No. You got to change it a little bit. So I wonder how the Celtics are going to be because Al Horford's getting older. Xavier Tillman looked fine in the playoffs. I don't know. He wasn't huge for them. KP was hurt most of the time. So that spot's going to be big. They do have some guys that could come fill in that spot. But that spot's going to be big. And so that's where the health comes into play. I mean, how do you even improve off 64-win season for the Celtics? Like, they played amazing last year. We all saw it offensively and defensively, but it's just going to be how they can improve. If Jason Tatum, who's been in the lab with that jump shot, it's gotten a little quirky recently, but, like, I think he'll be good. I think JT is going to have a pretty big season, in my opinion. I think JB has been coming around, too, playing really well. Derek White Jr., I think they're going to have a lot of these same sets. They love this little horns action. They run at the elbows. They've been doing really good with that. And I think the coaching staff is really good at implementing new things and new ideas to get around, different ways to get their shooters the ball and to get them offense moving and flowing. So I think it's going to be basically the same season. I think the Celtics are going to be pretty tough to beat. Next up is the Brooklyn Nets. This is the team that is like, I am tanking. They are done. You saw it the last half of last season, and they are going to do the same thing this season. Their starting five, they got Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith off the bench. Like, it's a kind of a weird team because, I mean, how they got Bojan Bogdanovic, who I would be very surprised if he stays there, honestly. I think he could contribute somewhere else. And then Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons with the back. Like, is he actually going to play? Is he going to be good? I don't freaking know. Ben is confusing, so I don't know how he's going to play this season. The Nets, I mean, I don't think it really matters. This team is going to be one I'm not even trying to watch most of the time. You'll have those occasional Cam Thomas games where you're like, oh my gosh, this kid can score. I saw him in summer league and he was fantastic playing there. So that's kind of my first glimpse of him. But like, nah, this is not a team I'm excited about. I don't care. There's nothing. I don't care. Like, I don't think they're gonna do anything this season. I don't have any expectations. I don't know why Dennis Schroeder's there. I don't know why. I mean, I guess Nick Claxton want to get paid out, but like, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see Claxton's ascension. I want to see him play better. Cam Thomas, I think, is going to basically do the same thing. Schroeder's like a good glue piece. Like, it's a good team with players, but there's just not enough there to do anything. So, next up's the Charlotte Hornets. These guys were not very good last season either, but that's because LaMelo was hurt. I mean, you can't lose your best player and expect to play good. So, Brandon Miller was sensational, and I think he's going to continue to be amazing. 17 points. Like, he was shooting 37 from 3 as a rookie, so I think he's going to continue to improve. He's probably one I'm most excited to see. I think when he plays with LaMelo, it's going to open his game a lot more. Miles Bridges is also still hooping, and I'm glad, I guess. I don't know. We don't really root for him that much. It's kind of like the Deshaun Watson, you know? But, like, I don't know. It might be a tank season for the Hornets as well. I don't know if... I mean, they have Josh Green. I mean, Mark Williams they have as well. Backups include Micic. I really like the way he plays. His style is great as a backup. He's a Tyus Jones type kind of guard. Trey Mann, too. It's kind of crowded back there. Cody Martin, Grant Williams, Nick Richards. It's almost like the Nets with just a better, like, overall starting five. So I'm not excited for them. I don't know what LaMelo Ball needs to do or if they just need to get him more pieces. I think they're getting there, though, because I love the LaMelo, Brandon Miller. Mark Williams is great. He is a great big. Miles Bridges is all right. He's hitting into his prime, though, so I think there could be some big things with him coming, but I think this is another develop the young guys, and if we end up tanking, it's fine because this next draft class is supposed to be really good, so not too excited for them either. Next up is the Chicago Bulls. This team is actually sneaky, but I feel like we say this every year about the Bulls. Like, they have a solid team, and, like, they're just not quite good enough to get over the hump. They got Josh Giddey in now. I kind of like that rotation they got. The guards with Kobe White, Josh Giddey. I saw Lonzo Ball hoop in Summer League. He hit that first corner three. I was like, let's go, Lonzo. Love to see him back. And I love the draft pick with Buzelis. I think they have some good pieces. They got Pat Williams, Vucevic. Off the bench, I think Ayo Dosunmu is going to be huge for them as well. They need that scoring punch, and I think Ayo or Lonzo is going to have to do something big. The biggest thing for them, the most important thing I'm most excited for is Zach LaVine. Is he still that all-star caliber player? Because if he is, he's got to at least do that DeMar DeRozan 25, 5-5 thing. Like, he has to fill it up. He's got to do everything. He's got to be consistent, and he has to stay healthy. He played like 30 games last season. That ain't going to do it. He's going to be healthy. So if he's healthy, I can see the Bulls kind of surprising some people, but, I mean, what is surprising? Like a 5th, 4th, 6th seed and then getting outed in the first round. Like, I don't know. But, like I said, the most important thing for them is Zach LaVine. He has to be big for them this season, and I think he can. He's still kind of in that state of his career where I think he can really get around the bucket. He's got to be able to use those screens, though, and he also got to get the teammates involved because a lot of the attention is going to go to LaVine, but he has so many guys, and I mean, Giddey, come playoff time is going to be huge for them to see, like, how is he going to actually fit the rotation if he can actually knock down some shots. But Giddey and Kobe White and Ayo and Lonzo setting up the offense is looking, I like the preseason stuff I've seen, so hopefully Buzelis can come around, too, off the bench, but the Bulls, a little sneaky this season. Next up, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Probably one of my least favorite teams to talk about each season because I don't know if they just don't see it and they're just like, we got to stick on these players because they're good. But this Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, I'm blinking, Jarrett Allen, and Mobley it's not working. Like, do they just not see it? Like, I get it that they were hurt in the playoffs and they were outed because basically they had no one playing against the Celtics. They barely scuffed by the Magic, though. It just doesn't feel like it's working. Like, when you take one of the guards out, they play better. When you take one of the bigs out, it seems like they play better. Like, Mobley doesn't seem like he's a true 4. Jarrett Allen is a great 5, but next to Mobley, it doesn't seem like it's working that well. Garland and Mitchell haven't really figured out how to play off each other. I love Darius Garland, too, and I love the things the Cavs have done. I think Mitchell is one of the best scorers in the NBA, but I don't know. I'm not excited to see because I think it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same thing every year until they either move on from one of these players or no, that's it. They just got to move on. I don't know what can be done with it, but something's got to change, and they just aren't willing to make the change yet. So we'll see if they end up doing that sometime. But next up is the Detroit Pistons, the 14-win Pistons. Oh my gosh. These guys are just a joke, honestly. But it's crazy because I actually like the roster in the team. Like, Cade, Ivy, Thompson brother, Tobias Harris coming in the mix is very intriguing. Jalen Duren is great. Marcus Sasser on the bench. They just got Ron Holland. Fontecchio, Isaiah Stewart. Like, they even got Tim Hardaway Jr. And, like, who's the Bucks guy? Malik Beasley. Like, it's so weird that they have all these guys. But it does kind of feel like that rec league squad. Like, put your team or your buddies together and let's just go hoop. Like, everyone can kind of shoot threes. Defense, they're like okay, but they're just. That's what it feels like to me. The biggest thing though is who's gonna take the leap. I mean, Cade's look great if he can stay healthy. I'm still holding my Cade Cunningham stock. I think he's a great facilitator. He's up at 8 assists, over 20 a game, but sometimes he lapses and he can't score that well. So you got to learn to be efficient because no one's going to respect him if he can't score. And I think you got to see him take a big leap. I think he has to. He's got to be an all-star player this season. Not even just for this season to, like, immediately make an impact, but, like, to actually move forward in the franchise, you need Cade Cunningham to pan out. Because Jaden Ivey is great, and he's a scorer, but, like, the face has got to be Cade. Like, the way he plays, his style, like, it has to be Cade, right? So he's got to develop. I really hope they get Ron Holland some freaking minutes. The backcourt is crowded, but they got to, right? So the Pistons, it's probably going to be another 18-20 win season, but I hope they do a lot better because I really like the pieces. Next up is a team I love, and I picked them perfectly right in the playoffs to go where they win and then lose to the Celtics. But the Indiana Pacers, man, I love them. Halliburton is one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. He's going to be probably my most important player for them this season because he needs to be able to get this gap in his game. So he's got this ability to get to the bucket. He has this ability to hit his little step-back three that he loves to do. But this mid-range game, he doesn't do it. And I think he needs to. I think it's important for what the Pacers do. They love to score. And I think that Halliburton being able to navigate those screens and be dangerous from the mid off of those pick and rolls will open up things for Nembhard on the perimeter, like Siakam and Turner to get touches in their preferred spots. Turner loves the pop. Siakam loves the roll to get the post up. The Pacers didn't really switch much up. Ben Shepherd's still there. He's showing a lot of great flashes. I think they need to get him some minutes. DJ McConnell, of course. Obi Toppin. They got Tristan Newton as well as someone that I think could be very good for this team in the future. Defensive, great player, hustles. And then probably the biggest story, I guess you would say, is Benedict Mathurin for real? Like, I know he was hurt last season, but in theory, Benedict Mathurin needs to become this Harrison Barnes type role. Like, he needs to be able to, when called upon, score the basketball. Like, when the Warriors had Harrison Barnes, if Clay was coming off a down and Curry was coming around off his double freaking stagger screen, Harrison Barnes was always there when the defense tried to help off. And when they need a bucket, Harrison Barnes could catch it low. Benedict is a big guy, and so they give me kind of the same vibe. And I think that Benedict has to show that he can do that. It's kind of tough because you see other teams like the Sixers and the Knicks made leaps to improve their roster, and this Pacers said, no, we're in this. Our biggest thing was getting Siakam locked down. And I think that's good for them. They don't need to rush this because soon enough, they're going to get another guy come around, and I think this is going to be a really good team. So don't rush it with the Pacers, but I do like them. Next up, the Miami Heat. This is another team that I kind of just hate doing every single season because it's the same. You don't really know until the playoffs come. And last season, Jimmy Butler got hurt, so they did not stand a chance. But this team's good. They're always going to be good, solid Heat culture. You know the vibes. Terry Rozier, I love that addition. One of my favorite additions that's been on a team recently. Love they got him into a team that he can actually play and fill his role. I think the big thing is going to be a facilitating guard. Like you have Rozier, Hero, Jimmy Butler, Jovic, Bam, Burks, Richardson, Jaime Jaquez. Like you got all these guys, Khalil Ware. But it's going to be huge, and I think this is where, you guys ready? The thing I'm most excited for is Bam Adebayo. It's time. It is time, Bam. We need you to become the Bam that everyone wants you to. We saw flashes in the Olympics. We've seen a little bit in the preseason too, but he's got to shoot the ball. We're getting him to shoot threes. Finally, we've been begging for it, but like he can have an Anthony Davis type projection. If he just needs to take that step, and I'm really, really hoping it's coming. I think it's the time they want him to shoot. They've been really trying to run the offense through him. He's really good at getting the little DHOs like Sabonis loves to run, and I think that it could be time. So most likely this is another team that you can't really predict till the playoffs come. They're going to be in there. I don't think they'd miss the playoffs, unless barring injuries, of course. But I think Bam is going to be absolutely huge for them. And the big spot, Khalil Ware, too, I think he can be really big. Pele Larson as well, some new additions. They got guys. They're really good at drafting. We know this. So it's kind of the same heat, but I'm excited to see what Bam's going to do this season. Next up is the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a team that they basically swapped out Malik Beasley for Gary Trent. They're basically same vibes, but I think Malik Beasley shoots better than Gary Trent, but Trent's bigger. I think he's more physical, so that's good for them. I think they need that. DeLon Wright in the backup guard role is chef's kiss. I think he's a great backup veteran guard. They need someone like that who's not like trying to score like a Lonnie Walker or something, but like who can just like kind of just be there and be solid. So guys, we are kind of disappointed with the Bucks. Let's be honest. When we first got a glimpse of this Dame and Giannis thing, we were like, this is gonna be a match made in heaven. Like just let Dame and Giannis run the pick and roll to death. And I don't know what it is, if it's Dame declining, if it's Giannis doing too much. But last season, I know they were hurt, but which I'm trying to analyze it without the hurting. Like just seeing like we need that Giannis and Dame chemistry. They really need to build it. And it's hard coming to the first time around, last season. But like I don't think we can just do bully ball Giannis forever. Like yes, he is so physically imposing and he can do basically whatever he wants. But like that's kind of what teams want him to do. And I don't think that style is just it. And I think he's just getting his body beat up over and over. And he's getting older. He's approaching 30. He's been pretty hurt. And I think you can't do that style anymore. And I think Dame done. Like, this is it. I think this is the season we find out because you see Steph continue to ascend. Like, he does not let age wear on his body. And he just shows it. Even though his minutes have been going down, he just is there always doing what you need him to do. And I think Dame has to do that. And overall, is this a revenge tour? I think the Bucks are mad. So it's basically the same team as well. But I think they are going to be there always with Giannis and Dame. If they can actually get this system figured out better, I'd watch out because the Bucks are always going to compete and be there. And barring injuries, this could be a team that could knock out some other teams in the playoffs. Next up, go New York, go New York, go New York Knicks. I love this team. I love Jalen Brunson with all my heart. The Nova Knicks, although we got rid of Dante, which kind of sucks. We'll talk about that in the Western Conference, though, as well. But you get Anthony Towns, you got Anunoby, Hart, you get in Mikal Bridges, like McBride. This team is nasty, guys. Precious, Campaign, Kolek, Mitchell Robinson's hurt right now, but when he comes back, I don't know. This is scary. I think this is a scary, scary, scary team. Last year, I think they were not built to last with the Pacers. And that's why, personally, I picked the Pacers to beat them. Now they have Towns. And then we're going to add another wing who can just lock down anyone in the NBA in Bridges. Now, I do have some questions because Mikal Bridges' jump shot is garbage. I don't know what has happened. I know he's working on it, but I think his preseason numbers is like 2 for 20 or something from downtown. And that's not it. They already have Josh Hart, who, yeah, he's going to step up and knock down big shots in big games, but you have to space the floor. Like, this Brunson, Towns, pick and pop, flare, like, all of this is not going to work if you don't have people around you. And yes, Hart's a great cutter. You're going to have McBride off the bench. Tyler Kolek, I think, is going to be really big this season for them. I think McBride will be great too, but it's interesting. Anunoby is going to have to be big as well, but it's a lot of defense and then Brunson and Towns, which is kind of, it's giving the Bucks with a better defense, and I don't know how I feel about it. I really think they'll be dangerous because all I picture is just the most beautiful Brunson and Towns picking pops. Brunson, if they don't want to help Brunson, then he's just going to take that down to the paint and score. If they're trying to keep the big down, he's going to pop it out to Towns, and Towns is going to hit that as one of the best big shooters in the NBA. And so this is going to be a really good team. I think it's going to be, if they can stay healthy for sure, as is the case with most squads, but like this one for sure because they're going to be playing 40 minutes a night. So the Nova Knicks, be careful. When Mitchell Robinson comes back too, I'm very curious to see that because that would allow, like, it'd be a very interesting lineup if you went two bigs with Mitchell, then Towns, the three, like, you'd probably have to go, would you keep Anunoby? You'd have to, and then Bridges, and then Hart off the bench. That'd be so weird. I'm sure they'll try out some stuff, but the Knicks, I'm always excited for because I love Jalen Brunson, so it's going to be a big year for them. Next up, we got the Orlando Magic. I love the Magic. Guys, Paolo Banchero. My stock is still there in Banchero because I love the way he plays. You got KCP joining the squad this season. You got Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter, the other Wagner brother as well. Tristan da Silva comes in the mix. They did finally move on from Fultz, ripped the NBA for killing this man's career, but Cole Anthony's still there, and Gary Harris. So let's see. This is going to be an interesting season because I think they need a guard to step up. I think they need a guard to actually play solid. And I mean, you have a lot of when Cole Anthony isn't on, Jalen Suggs is on, and Suggs is on, and Suggs is off, Cole Anthony's on. Like they kind of go back and forth with each other, but I think someone's got to be better. I think there has to be a guard that can really do a lot because, now don't get me wrong, I think Banchero is becoming this Bam style, like give me the ball and I'm going to do everything. But I think Franz needs to shoot the ball better too. Like, in order for the way Paolo plays to work well, Franz has to hit shots. And I love that they brought KCP in because he's going to knock down shots and do what you need him to do. He didn't average a lot, but he didn't shoot a lot in Denver. So the guard spot's crowded, and I think Orlando needs to get this under wraps. I know they finally not finally, but like Fultz is gone. Trying to clear it up a little bit. And I think that's partial because Anthony Black really showed out last season too in limited minutes. So I think they need to get him more run. They got Corey Joseph as a veteran as well in there. And I think it's going to be a good season for the Magic. I think it'll probably be a little repeat of last season. I could see them getting out of the first round though. But my biggest thing is Banchero and Franz. You need them both to play well. And I think Banchero's going to make another leap this season. It's just if Franz is going to follow with him. He did not shoot well in the Olympics. And we need him to, so that's kind of my big things with the Magic. Next up is the Philadelphia 76ers. We finally got Paul George out of LA. I'm excited because I like this. I love the Embiid, Paul George, Maxey thing. I think it's going to work so well. Honestly, I do. Embiid's got to stay healthy. Kelly Oubre is going to be pretty big too, along with Caleb Martin. You still got Kyle Lowry. Eric Gordon joins the mix. And one of my favorite additions in the NBA coming from France, Yabusele. This man was incredible in the Olympics. Watching him play was so fire. And I'm so glad that a team gave him a chance. So he better get a freaking run with this team. And I think he will because of Embiid's little bit of injury history. He can shoot the ball too. It'll be interesting to see how he plays. He's more physical with the ability to shoot too in the NBA. So I think he can come in with that 4 spot or even some backup minutes and play pretty good at the 3-2. 3 and 4, but I mean, come on. We know this is coming down to that big 3. It's Maxey, it's Paul George, it's Embiid. If they stay all healthy, this is a dangerous squad. This is super dangerous, and I love the way that this is going to work. Like, theoretically, in my basketball brain, I'm just watching Maxey and Paul George and Embiid just run this offense. I think Paul George is super important to this squad because he's got to be able to do what players like Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, just haven't been able to do for the Sixers, and that is just be consistent. Like they need someone who can just always score. And he was honestly, Paul George was great last season, so I think he's gonna play well. I always see off-season clips of Paul George in the lab working. And I think he's bringing the energy. I think he wants to do something coming back out east. There's gonna be a little bit of fire in him, I think, and this is a squad that it will be interesting because it's not the typical build of superstars surrounded with some 3-point shooters and a big. It's just more. It's a little different. It's that typical like Miami Heat style. Like we got some rugged players with this big three that we are gonna be physical and we're gonna win games by traditional like posting up our big Embiid, running a pick and roll, letting our 3 and 4 get down there in the block too. So we'll see how the Sixers do this season. I'm pretty excited. Honestly, the Sixers are usually disappointing though, so we'll see what happens. But barring injury, I think it could be a pretty big season for the Sixers too. Next up, the Toronto Raptors. This is a team that confuses me so much because I don't know what they want to do. They just want to stay in the weirdest mediocre spot. I love the things they've changed, though. I think they're starting to round the corner to a different kind of squad. Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick, R.J. Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl. They bring in Davion Mitchell as well. I love him, but I'm kind of sad because I want Jamal Shed to get those minutes, and now Davion Mitchell is probably going to get more of those minutes, but hopefully they work them both in. My big thing with them is, what are you going to do with Scotty Barnes? Like, is he good? Are we keeping, like, is he the face? Because he's giving a little Cade vibes. Like, is he actually who we want to, like, build out with? I do love Emmanuel freaking Quickley. I get it why the Knicks didn't want to keep him, money-wise, because they're getting a lot of that from McBride, but I think Quickley is phenomenal. He averaged 19, 5, and 7. Like, this kid can hoop, he can shoot, he can... 7 dimes is not something to go, like, 7 dimes in the NBA, and Quickley's young. I think they really got to keep him in the court. Hopefully Cook can get a little stronger, though, because he is tiny. That man will fly away in the wind, honestly. But I like him. I like the way he plays and the style. I don't think the Raptors are going to do anything again. They're not serious. Like, again, just be serious. Let's try to win or let's not try to win. But they're in a weird range, so I don't really care for them this season. Finally, save the best team for last, the Washington Wizards. Oh my gosh. I still can't believe the Pistons were worse than the Wizards, if I'm being honest. This team is so gross to watch. This is the definition of rec ball, late night pickups. Like, no. Oh, I am so glad Tyus Jones got out of there. I get it. Kuzma just wants his bag, whatever. Jordan Poole wants to show that he can run a team, but like, every time I watch them run any kind of set, I was like, this is gross. And I think it's going to be the same. I mean, Koulibaly, I need to see this man play 30-plus a game because I want to see how good he is. And he's already defensively amazing. His wingspan's like 10 feet long. They get Sarr in. We're going to see how that works out. Interesting draft pick. But, I mean, at this point with the Wizards, you're like, hopefully he spans out because, like, you don't have much going for you. So you might as well take a shot on someone and see how good he's going to play. Like I said, basically, this is how good is Koulibaly and how good is Sarr here. They need to play a lot of minutes. I don't care about the other guys. They can go play on a different team if they want. You also have Jonas Valanciunas. Come on, I don't care. Malcolm Brogdon's here too. Like, please go contribute to someone else. But most important for them, I don't care. Most exciting, I don't care again. I might tune on a couple times when Koulibaly's in the game, but other than that, this team is, they might be hitting that 13 win rate. I think they might. This is gonna be gross. I can't even think about them anymore. Let's get out of here. All right, so just for this episode, I wanted to just give my NBA Finals pick from the Eastern Conference. I'll break down other stuff later about the conferences and awards and stuff like that. It's so weird because I'm like, I think about it like the Knicks can really do something special. I think they got a whole city. Like the Jalen Brunson hype is crazy. The Sixers are looking like they might be able to finally round the corner and at least get to the finals. The Bucks are mad, and Giannis and Dame, when they mad, that's scary. Other than that, I mean, I think those top four are the only teams that I could see legitimately competing to get out of the East. Did I even mention the Celtics? I was thinking Celtics in my head, but Celtics, Sixers, Knicks, and Bucks, which has basically been the story a little bit. So those four teams, and I think the Celtics are going to make it back to the finals. Whether they win or not, we'll think about that one. But I just don't think, and this is all, if everyone's perfectly healthy too, I don't think anyone can stop the Celtics. They just looked so good last season, and I don't think anyone out east added players to be able to get over what the Celtics do. The only team I could see that's going to give the Celtics problems is going to be the Knicks because they added length, size, and at size they added someone who can shoot in town. So hopefully we get a crazy Eastern Conference matchup with the Celtics and the Knicks because I think that series will be phenomenal. And I think the Knicks are the only one that give them a problem, but I think the Celtics should make the NBA Finals this season as well. But yeah, that's it for the Eastern Conference preview today. Thanks for tuning in, checking it out. And drop your comments, feelings, emotions. Let me know what you guys think about the Eastern Conference this season, and we'll see you guys on the next one.